Hello and welcome to Sugar, Silk and Stretch, a unique boxing podcast brought to you exclusively by Ace Podcast Nation. My name is Ben Doughty.
My name is Michael, the shoved Olajide. He just shoved me. You seen it. Sue him.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, this is Gary. Please introduce yourself before I explain.
I'm a friend of Michael and Ben's.
Okay.
You hesitated on the Ben part. I like that.
I did. I know Michael's my friend, but Ben, you know how he is.
Yeah.
He blows like the wind. Sometimes he loves me, other times he doesn't return my calls. But he's a legend. Ben is a legend. Come on.
Well, listen, guys. Obviously, some explanation might be in order. The reason why I was able to shut Michael, it's never happened on the show before previously, because we've never physically met before. We're both currently sitting in Michael's hotel room.
How's the chemistry? Are you attracted to each other in a good way?
I've got to say...
not chemically.
No, not chemically, no. He's drug-free.
I find you very attractive, Ben.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't be the first, Gary, although I do think that's probably a bit of a stretch, what you just said there. Listen.
Well, I wear glasses.
Oh, you like what he did there? He said that's a bit of a stretch.
I heard him. He's fucking thinks he's amazing.
He's a man. He play on words. Soliloquies for everybody.
Yeah. See, listen, when you lean forward like that, you cut the top of your head off. So you need to...
But he can hear me better.
Good. Okay. Listen, we are in Atlantic City for the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. This is currently in the Silks hotel room at the flagship hotel and casino. Gary, I believe, is still in Bulgaria. We're here tonight to talk. It's going to be honest, it nearly didn't happen at all because New York has flooded biblically, and the whole of civilization has ground to a halt on the East Coast. We got here anyway because we're professionals, and we're doing the show, all of us three, because we're professionals. We're going to talk about the upcoming big fight tomorrow night in the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas that pits Canelo Alvarez versus Jamel Charlo.
But before we go any further, we're not professionals because we're not getting paid. But we're what would we say? Another
enthusiastic amateurs.
There you go.
Very conscientious amateurs.
Yes, conscientious amateurs.
Gary, please talk about the fight and dig me out to this bit, please.
Well, where do we begin? We have the weight. We have the possible slide of Canelo. And of course, we start with Ben, and this will lead us into our opinions of Ben, who wins the fight.
Honestly, Gary, I favour Canelo. I haven't looked at the odds because I can't get Sky Bet when I'm in America for some reason, but I think that I haven't seen lots of Charlo, to be honest with you, but he looks kind of aggressive and a little reckless from what I have seen of him, the couple of fights against Brian Castano. And I think that will suit Canelo. I feel that Canelo struggles with counterpunches and boxers, like Lara, Trout, Mayweather, obviously, Bivol, etc. And I think this guy may make him look quite good because they won't have to go looking for him.
Of course, me being the contrarian.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure that's going to be the case. I do believe that Charlo will try to box him and he'll show utter respect for Canelo. He has to. He doesn't know how much he has left. I'm sure he's going to at one point test it. He's going to have to test Canelo and see what kind of resiliency he has, how much power he has, how much focus he has. I mean, you've been living in the lap of luxury for what, a decade now, and it's hard to keep getting up for hard fights. So I think what Canelo has to do, what Charlo has to do, he has to make this fight extremely uncomfortable from the jump. Round one, he has to make this uncomfortable. He has to make Canelo think, oh, I got to go through this again. And if he can do that, he'll stand a better chance of winning this fight.
But who wins it?
But who wins it? That's always so hard to call because, I mean, you're a fighter.
But we have this silly ongoing competition, so you have to pick your side.
Oh,
but give him the course of a show to put his chips down. I mean, let's build it up, Gary. A bit of foreplay, please, first.
Yeah.
No. I would like the pick, and then we'll discuss why in the show.
All right, I say Canelo. Any which way, points maybe.
Michael, you've never been one to be shy. Let's hear your pick, and then you'll explain throughout the course of the show your reasoning.
pour moi, not shy. Okay. I mean, I have to protect my record here because I got a winning record right now. He has a losing record.
Yeah.
And you're kind of.
I'm 100%. So you're actually not protected. You're protected at 1-1. You can advance to become a winning participant.
And I'd have to.
At this point, Ben is a losing participant in the game. You are an even participant, and I'm a winning participant.
Well, you're winning because you only have one. My man,
well, one is better than.
You guessed right once.
I haven't lost one. Let's not discuss me. Let's discuss your choice, please.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we? I give
in your own time.
I give you a little bit of what I wanted to do. Why don't you give me a little bit of what you think, and then I can make my mind.
I don't want to give mine because you copy me. So I want you to give yours first.
I do. Listen, make a pick.
You just want the 100% like
I have.
I will give you mine after you give it. I don't want your reasoning, so I don't want to take your knowledge, Michael, to choose my bet. I will give you my educated knowledge, but I first would like your final decision. You have 3 seconds.
You know what? I'm gonna go out on the ledge. I may jump into the losing column, like
I currently reside
here. Yeah, and it's, you know what? It's an emotional thing, but at the same time, I'm gonna go with Charlo.
Over to you, Gary.
I'll tell you the way it flies for me. If it's a sliding Canelo,
if you can't use it,
no, I'm going to give you my choice. If it's a sliding Canelo and a supercharged Charlo, it goes 2 ways. Charlo has every chance of beating him. The way I see it, it's going to be Charlo's going to shock the world for 6 rounds, and then Canelo crawls back and beats him. That's my head. That's how I see the fight. Exciting. Everyone can't believe this kid has jumped up this weight. The way he's handling Canelo is amazing. He's matching him. He's beating him on speed, power. But eventually, the weight, the experience, and the adrenaline, and the deep water come, and Canelo somehow comes back into it. That's my head. However, my gut, I'm with Michael. I'm going to go Charlo to shock the world.
Well, all I will
you
say,
may get a win here, Ben, because all of my reasoning.
Gary, now that the battle lines are drawn,
now
that the battle lines are drawn, let me say, if that ginger bastard lets me down tomorrow, I will never forgive him.
If that ginger bastard lets you down, you're not going to win many more.
if that happens, I'm going to become a journeyman.
Canelo, you're in trouble, man.
Yeah, you know,
this is your chance to get in the win column. I appreciate that. I like it. You know, we all should be. It makes us all look like consummate professionals.
So I want to talk to you.
If I was in Vegas, Ben, I would put my money quietly in your pocket, say, go put it on Canelo, and then on TV, I'd say Charlo's going to win.
Yeah. Well, listen. I want to talk to you guys about this notion. You alluded to it about Canelo being on the slide. Is that an actuality, or is it just a narrative? Because I think he's always struggled with certain stars. I think Bivol would always maybe have beaten him, you know, because for various reasons. Is Canelo definitely on the slide, or are people just fond of saying that and then copying one another?
No, he's on the slide for the fact that,
Okay.
I didn't know we had James Lights that tone on the show.
Am I back?
That was good.
I'm back, right?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
He's on the slide. The fact that his last fight, when he fought the English kid who are like Ryder, right?
Yeah.
But let's be honest, Ryder, great, honest, good pro, is not the elite, and a prime Canelo, I think, would have done more.
Would have gotten out of there.
He would have done a much better job than he did. I think he is on the slide, and if he slides a little more than his last fight, and you get a supercharged Charlo, I think he has some problems.
you know, not to play the DA over here, but devil's advocate. I tend to think that, listen, Canelo, is he in a position where he can be taken? Is he weaker than he ever was? I don't think he's weaker. I think he lives a Spartan life. I think he lives a good life that's going to allow him to preserve his power, his intelligence, all the rest of that kind of stuff. Yeah, the stamina, the endurance, all the rest of that. He's going to take a great shot, all those things. I just think it's going to be a matter of this kid's reflexes have always been sharp and will always be a problem for Canelo. Like, we talk about weight, but what you're talking about fists? It's not a wrestling match. It's about one person's fist hitting the other guy's face or body. And I think this kid's going to be able to get off quick. That's one thing. Like, Deontay Wilder has that release, that quick release. Yeah, he has power, but it's the fact that it's his quick release that gets him the knockouts, as well as the weight of his punch. And I think with this kid right here, with Charlo, it's the same thing. He has a very quick release. He has a lot of energy. If he's not, if he doesn't start, hyperventilating and being anxious for the moment, I could see him running with this fight. Like, I really could see him running. Yeah, Canelo may have some moments, but I don't know. I just don't see him. It's hard for me to see Canelo going in there and just dominating him over 12 rounds.
Okay, but what if he doesn't dominate him, but he gets a decision anyway? Do you fancy Charlo to stop Canelo? Because if you don't, you realise that, like most people, politically, he has an uphill struggle. So everybody says, and I think there's certainly a grain of truth in the notion. It's very hard to beat Saul Alvarez on the scorecards.
I personally don't think so.
Let's talk mental. So, I think Charlo's been around enough, you got to remember he's undisputed. That in itself says a great deal about him. He's on a 5-fight win streak. Negatives, he has been dropped with lesser men than Canelo.
Yeah.
And he has been beat by a lesser man than Canelo. However, experience is experience. So we learn from our mistakes. So I think he's learned. I think his record shows 5 last fights he's won, and pretty well. Let's talk mental approach. If he's on his game, nerves don't get to him. In fact, nerves, hype, everything, he's really on fire for this. The first 3-4 rounds, he does a job, because then that kind of energy settles, and he has to have another 4 rounds where he's got to box impeccably on his game, not get caught, be super, super tight with everything. Now we get into round 8 and 9, and then now we have 10, 11, 12 championship rounds, the road to legend. The hype comes in his brain again. I've got 3 more rounds, he can lift it up again. So on a psychological wave, the first 4 rounds coming into it, the importance will give him what he needs. The middle rounds are the danger rounds for him, where he can't drop focus. And if he gets past the hump, and he's got 2 or 3 rounds left with a good corner giving him good advice, knowing the rainbow at the end of the fight, the last 3 rounds he can box out of his skin and go and win this fight. So I would see it 3-4 rounds in the beginning, a surprise for everybody that Charlo looks amazing. Middle rounds get interesting, and then if he survives and he's not been hurt or broken down by the latter half of the fight, the whole event will raise him again to have a finale. So that's how I see it in my heart. And my head, again, it's always been Canelo, but
there's always going to be that back and forth.
We all know, if we're talking sense, Canelo should beat him. You're not talking about a bigger man. We're talking about the best bigger man at the weight in years. He's like the greatest super middleweight for a decade. And so, Roy Jones beats him, I think, in his prime, but
absolutely.
But
out of sight.
But he's not an average champion, so he's got his work cut out for him, Canelo. But if the little father time has caught up with him, I think Charlo's the kind of fighter who can be the one to seal the bag, you know.
See, my feeling is, as I say, that the kind of fighters that Canelo's always struggled with, cagey guys, boxers, you know, slippery guys, counter punchers. Bivol might be the bigger, naturally stronger man. Although I know you've always, every time I mention this now, I feel there's a big caveat coming from you, and you're getting me to reconsider whether it's as relevant as we've always been led to believe. But you know, maybe Bivol, he waited for him. He didn't press it. He didn't take it to Canelo. He kind of waited and stood off him a little bit and came in and out, very kind of Eastern European, Olympic kind of boxing style. So, and I look at Charlo and his aggressiveness and his output, and I just think Canelo does well against that kind of style. But
you have to say that he's aggressive with fighters that don't respect him.
You're right, and he may bring something different that we've never seen before. Because that does. I was saying, Gary, to Michael when we were chatting about this yesterday. Do you remember this first Golovkin fight with Canelo and Golovkin? And do you remember Canelo spent a lot of that fight dancing, almost like Muhammad Ali or something? So the reason I mention that is because sometimes a guy, even though he's had loads of pro fights and he's well known, his blueprint, he can suddenly reveal something else in a particular fight, can't he?
Yes. I mean, for me, I think no matter what game plan Charlo has, the one thing he has to do early is get a good shot off and get a little respect.
Yeah,
he has to hit him with something and just let him know he can't be too comfortable. He's got to, and that just means if you don't hurt Canelo early and he grows and so, I mean, he's full of confidence anyway. But it's not about the confidence. If he catches him early, he makes gives Canelo something to think about, and if he's got something to think about, that does take you off your game a little bit, and it also weighs a little physically. So
yeah, definitely get him to hesitate. And that's
and if he can catch him just with one shot in the first couple of rounds that makes Canelo think a little, he will have a lot more room to possibly make the odd mistake and not get punished.
Yeah.
He needs to respect immediately. Yeah.
You know what? Frank Lautier's, though, he's a guy on Facebook who's a pretty good analyst. He was an ex-pro, but he's quite prominent these days for being a pretty good analyst of the game. He said, think about it. Canelo used to be a light middleweight, right? 10 years ago. And he says, now think of them fighting at light middleweight. Would you definitely make Canelo a prohibitive favourite by those lights? No. And then he says, well, look at the two of them at the press conferences. And I didn't sit away because we were in transit. But, you know, he said, it almost looks, if you were looking at the two guys on the stage with all the belts, he said you could almost believe that it's Canelo is the guy stepping up two weight divisions and not Jamel. So he was...
You've got to remember, too, I saw Canelo training. He looked pretty drained.
Interesting.
He looked lean. You've got to remember, we've got Canelo with the super middleweight, but he's been light heavyweight. You know, he's been up there, and
got beat.
Yeah, he got beat.
But
he wasn't even up for 175, was he?
It's not so much the result at light heavyweight; it's the fact that he got up to light heavyweight and got up there in a good way with muscle. So coming down again, it's like what happened with Roy Jones and Tarver. You know what I mean? He went up, Roy, and then he came down. It did hurt him. So it might this might be a slight drain on Canelo. He may not be as comfortable at 68 as he
but Gary, in what way did it hurt
Roy Jones? You don't believe that, do you? That's another one that you've got.
I'll tell you how it hurt him. Okay, we know muscle weighs heavier than fat, right? So when people go up weights and they do it in a correct way, not the Joe Joyce way, when they go up in the Joe Joyce, you know, he had a little belly on him this last fight, which how that helps him, I don't know. And certainly the style he fought wouldn't help him. But if you go up with muscle and take your time, I know Charlo's not had the time to do that, but I think he's a specimen as a physical specimen. When Roy Jones went up, he went up with a lot of strength and muscle. Now it's difficult to get the weight off muscle once you've been up there, And so it does take a little out of you coming back down. So I believe if you go up the
believe that
right
you can
way,
lose,
coming
you can
down
lose
is
muscle
more
as quickly
difficult.
as you. It's much harder to lose fat than it is to lose muscle. Once you stop doing the weight training programs, your muscles deflate immediately. You could look at any professional bodybuilder and you could see that.
But
Like
they're not
focus
stopping,
on
Michael. They're not.
muscle.
The trainings are consistent. I know atrophy, right?
Yes.
You know, you don't eat enough protein, your body goes in atrophy, and you start eating the muscle. But these guys, but when we're saying these guys are training muscle every day, even if you get up there with the weights and all of the above, they're doing the push-ups and the this and the strength and conditioning. They're constantly training these guys. It's not like an average guy stops training and then he loses muscle. I lose muscle but I train like an animal, and then I don't train for 3 months.
Yes,
These guys are constantly training.
You also have to be repetitive of the same motions in order to do that. Now, if all of a sudden you're no longer lifting, you're no longer curling 7,500, 150, you're not pounding those out, and you're not bench pressing anymore, your body's going to adapt to exactly that. It's going to.
No, but you're incorrect on that. You don't have to do the same. In fact, to gain muscle, you have to keep changing the exercise and shocking the muscle by doing different things. Otherwise, it gets used to it and you don't get the growth.
Yeah.
So it's not a repetitive thing. I think if you put on a healthy weight, muscular, they train enough, they do enough. It may be a different weight, but they'll be losing weight on diet and other things, maybe a little more cardio, but diet cuts down, the luxuries of whatever, fluids, all of the above. But I just think if you've been up a weight and you come down and you're comfortable at that weight, and then you come down, it might hurt a little more than if you never went up. You know what I mean? So I think that he looked to me, I've not seen him look drained before, but to me, I saw him in the gym skipping. He was flexing his little muscles as if he was, doing what he was doing, showing how ripped he was. But he looked like he looked lean, and he didn't look like he looked a little weak to me, not a little drained. It's just me. I may be a complete retard.
Because everybody has their own interpretations of, like, you look at something and you have an interpretation. Everyone does based on their experiences. Like,
I didn't see the weigh-in.
Like this is how I felt.
I didn't see the weigh-in, and you guys didn't. So I think it would have been nice to have this conversation, having had a look at them, the skin, their eyes, the way they are. But I felt the little bit of training I saw, I just thought it looked a little drained. So we'll see. If not, great. But I think if you've been up there, it's maybe a little harder to get back down. So he's a natural super middleweight. Do you believe that, Michael? Now he's a natural super. Would it hurt him to go to middleweight to fight Golovkin again?
Would it hurt him to go to middleweight?
Possibly.
Possibly, but I don't know. I just think the body is extremely malleable in those ways. You know what I mean?
At what age, Michael, did you feel? Because I know me. Mm-hmm. Junior middleweight was always a tough weight. Not tough. It was a weight that had to be disciplined. Mm-hmm. But there was a certain later in my career, it definitely got harder. Yeah. Definitely got harder.
Barry McGuigan told me the Pedrosa fight was the last time he could make 126 without feeling lightheaded.
And Canelo's had a lot of fights, guys. Come on.
Yeah. From my experience, I remember when I fought, and most of my fights, I'd be at like 57 or even a little bit less, and that was mainly because, and I would eat the morning of the weigh-in, and all the rest of that kind of stuff. It was just a thing. My dad always wanted me to fight middleweight. For most of my career, I could have made junior middleweight. Yeah, like I never missed a meal at night or a meal in the morning. No. Never. Always.
Well, your dad just wanted you to be a middleweight.
Well, I'm glad you didn't, Michael.
He wanted me to be a light heavyweight.
Say again?
You're funny.
You glad
I'm glad you didn't fight at light middleweight.
Yeah, that would seem. This is interesting. I don't want to sidetrack too much, but when I look at my two co-hosts, presenters, whatever you want to call them, anchors, I do think you two could conceivably have fought. You fought a middleweight, obviously famously against Chris Eubank Sr. I'm not really going anywhere with this, but it does occur to me Gary and Michael could have fought. Even in terms of
who would you have backed?
I think I was before him.
No, he was a. He thought
Ben,
he
now
was
let's have a
you
laugh.
were still fighting it.
No, I
Ben,
was
Ben,
on my
Ben,
last.
how would you see that fight going? Just give us the fight in your eyes.
Do you know what? That is
Oh,
that is a
God.
tough question. That is a tough question. I think.
Right now, my reach is longer than yours too.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Yeah, but you can't hit me
yeah,
from a hotel.
Yeah, yeah.
Meaning, I'm closer to him than you are.
I know. No, I just want fun.
Yeah, it would be fine. Let me think. I would lean towards Michael because
Because I'm here.
Yeah. And then when I do the show with Gary, I'll have a completely opposite opinion. No, I think Michael.
It's a tough
I would fancy Michael on points. I'm going to say it's a 10-rounder. It happens at Bally's Casino because it's only down the road from us right now. And I'm going to say Michael wins clear but close decision.
Wow.
Are you okay with that, Gary?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At least I got to the end of the bell, right?
You did.
That's a
you were
victory
looking
in
a bit wrong
itself.
in the 8th, but you got there with the grit.
I can go 12 rounds with Michael, but yet I can't get past the chip shop.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, exactly. But
the chip shop. I think it's a good. Like I look at you punch, and I'm like, this is a man you'd have to deal with. Like this is serious because you lash out with venom, and that makes a lot of people hesitate. That's something you don't necessarily want to jump right into. It's like running into a thrasher, and you're smart. You're fast. I know that you are also like you can tell. Like you led with your emotion. You punch with emotion, and so a person is going to have to go to war with you to take that kind of emotion away because that's like a fuel.
I've said it before, but I really like the way Gary entered the consciousness of British boxing fans, and it was from the amateurs because there was this prodigy. There was 3 of them brothers, but the head of the kind of dynasty was Georgie Collins, a gypsy kid from Pinewood Star in a place called Yateley. He was 73-0 as an amateur. They said, I do believe that's been substantiated. He'd never been beat ever in the amateurs. That's an unbelievable record, right? 73-0.
Yeah.
He'd won 10 national titles, and then along came this other kid from St Helens and starched him inside a round at the Grosvenor House Hotel in Mayfair, and it was just such a sensation. It sent like ripples down the grassroots boxing scene, boxing news, and then everybody wanted to know who this guy Gary Stretch was. And I've never forgotten that. When I think of Gary, it starts there for me. And then recently, I actually did discover there was a tiny bit of footage of that KO, and that's how we ended up doing this because of the tie-in on Facebook and people tagged Gary. That's how we had Gary on the show, and we got to where we are now. But that's I love the mythology of how Gary gate crashed the national boxing consciousness.
But here's another thing too. I have Gary's a fighter, pure 100%. Listen, I know you're just being polite. He knows. I know he thinks because he's a real fighter. He thinks he would beat me, and I think I would beat him, and that's all there is to it. It would have to be proven in the ring.
Yeah,
it would
right
be.
Now you're saying, right now you're saying, oh yeah, I'd give it to Michael, this and the other, but I know.
No, you know what, Michael? It would be an honor for me to share a ring with you. I say that not to be a pussy smart ass up your ass. It would have been an honor because I really, really love the way you fight. Okay. I would hope I don't get caught watching him. I remember, there's a movie, Sean Penn, State of Grace, with Gary Oldman, and Oldman was so brilliant in the movie. And Penn's a good actor, a brilliant actor, but there was times that it was almost like you saw Sean watching him. He was like, and I used to. Michael had a certain effect on me because I just enjoyed something about the way he fought. It was silk, but it was more. I just liked one of my favorite fighters, and I would have loved to do it for the fact that I did it, and of course, put me in, I'm going to beat him in my head, and Michael's going to beat me in his head, and I can't think any other way, but I certainly would not be ashamed to take the L. You know what I mean? It's like it is. I would have just liked to say me and Michael did it once. You know what I mean? Because what a great honor for me. I think I asked Michael on one of the shows, what was it like fighting Tommy Hearns? Because I'd be like looking at like one of my heroes. It's like, and then now I've got to fight him. It's like almost surreal. I'm in with fucking Tommy Hearns. It doesn't. that doesn't make sense to anyone.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
100%.
And he did it. And again, I think I mentioned it before. 9th round, he smashed Hearns all over the fucking ring. It was amazing. So no, of course, I would have loved. It would have been a great fight for the fans for sure. Because we both, I certainly would have give it all, and Michael would give it all, and I think there would have been fireworks because of our personalities. I think it could have been fun. Because I would have loved to fight him, not because I hated him. Like a lot of I didn't hate anyone, but there were fighters I disliked.
Yeah.
But I would imagine fighting a guy you love and still, you're trying to beat him with everything you got, but it's kind of an honor.
That did happen a couple of times. I remember Leon Spinks when he sensationally beat Ali in 1978, and he said at the press conference, "He's still my idol." And I remember also Terry Norris had similar feelings about Sugar Ray Leonard when he beat him at the Garden in 1991. So sometimes people are obliged to fight their hero. I think Rocky Marciano had a lot of affection for Joe Louis. Yeah. That's an interesting theme about people who had to beat their hero.
I would have loved that. I never got the opportunity. A few of the fighters that I loved, I would love to have fought, just because it's like how amazing that. Because we're kids and we look at people and we grow up and admire. To admire someone, and that because of all the qualities and how great you think they are, and then to share a ring certainly validates that you can't be that far away from great.
Yeah.
I know what great is. I know what I liked about Michael. So when you get in with a guy, and obviously you've earned the place to be there, so you, at the end of the day, you can say, you know what, you didn't do too bad, kiddo. You fought one of the greats who you loved and shared a ring with him, so you must have been better than most.
There you go.
You know what we're talking about, just an honor to share the ring. For some reason, I watched Larry Holmes' defense against Lucien Rodriguez, the French-Italian guy who was a European heavyweight champion at the time. They fought in Eastern Pennsylvania, Scranton, Pennsylvania, in '84. And I don't know if you remember that fight, Gary. It was shown on ITV, but Lucien Rodriguez, he goes 12 rounds. It was the first WBC heavyweight title fight that was of 12 rounds since they cut the distance. And he was absolutely jubilant and absolutely cock-a-hoop with glee that he'd gone the distance with Holmes. I've never seen a happier loser ever than Lucien Rodriguez, because I guess he just thought, it doesn't matter. Yeah. I will tell people this for the rest of my life, and the grandchildren, everything else. I went the distance with Larry Holmes, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. So that's just a random thought. We seem to be talking nice.
We've deviated from our course of action, and that was getting down to the Canelo and
Charlo. We've gone off on a bit of a tangent, but we talk about boxing, we talk about life. We need to wrap it up quite soon, partly because we're talking on a tabletop in Atlantic City. I'm also running out of battery, and I don't have my normal setup that I've got at home, and I don't want us to be cut right in the mid-air, as it were. So I'm saying Canelo on points. I don't think it will be disputed for what it's worth or controversial. I'm saying Canelo over 12 rounds in a way that not too many people are arguing about.
And I can strongly see that. I can strongly see Canelo winning it on points. I'm going it on the ledge only because, why not? When I consider his losses and the fact that he's been dropped, listen, everyone gets dropped at some point, or most people do anyway. And I'm thinking he's grown, not necessarily from the experience, but just over time. Like, you get in the ring, and the more you're doing things with people, and you're just getting this knowledge and this experience. He's relatively young still, right? What's he, like 28?
I was going to ask. I should know, but I think he is in that region. Yeah, just pre-30. I think.
Yeah. So he's got a lot of energy. He's got a lot of reason to do it. This is for him. This is like, it's really it's his step into manhood. It's his step into
coming of age. Yeah,
it's just coming of age as a fighter. As a prize fighter, it's just coming of age. If he doesn't get this done, he's relegated to, like, he's not that. And
but he'll still be. Well, I was going to say he'll still be the undisputed middleweight champion of the world. But I don't know if you heard about this, Gary. But I believe the WBO, I think it's that sanctioning body, are going to strip him as soon as the fight starts. Their logic is they are allowing it to be announced as they will let him be announced as the undisputed light middleweight champion of the world, and Canelo conversely is the same thing at super middleweight. But they will literally strip him as soon as the first bell sounds because they have other plans for it politically, and the title, he's not fulfilling whatever requirements they want him to fulfill.
And that's absolutely fair because,
okay,
to me, that's absolutely fair.
So he'll still be the 3/4 light middleweight champion of the world if he loses tomorrow night.
Yeah.
That's sad because he said, I saw the press conference, he said he was going to go straight back to 54 after this.
Yeah.
But unless he's missed a mandatory, something, I don't know, but I know he's had
something like that, Gary. The WBO, there was definitely the technicality that they're allowing this to be announced as a 2 undisputed world champions facing each other.
If he beats Canelo, that'll kick themselves in the ass because it'll be the most valuable fight in the world, and I'm sure they want the commission from the sanctioning fees. And on his next fight, if he fights Crawford or someone for $1 billion, the WBO will be kicking themselves in the ass. So it is what it is. I know he's going straight back down, win, lose, or draw. That's what he said. I saw it very clearly today on the press conference. My only concern, I'm going to stick with my decision that Charlo shocks the world.
Yeah.
Good in the early part, good at the last part, sticky in the middle. My only concern, which is body work. Body. I think Canelo could hurt him to the body. I think that's the one issue that could put a spanner in the works. That could take a lot away of a lot of things. A lot of
take a lot of the fire out of the kid.
That could be the iron in the fire. If Canelo can get to the body early, and it could change everything. That's my only one fear.
I think this kid can. Charlo. I think he can stick and move like people don't know. He's very aggressive, but he's
been able to be.
He's very athletic, and he's very aggressive. He's very athletic, but he has the ability to be very fluid.
I remember Donald Curry and the way he fought as a welterweight, and he was saying that's because I'm physically stronger than these guys. I feel as if I am. And as a light middleweight, he was a little bit more hit and hop, wasn't he? Sometimes because he said it already made a difference because he thought the weight made a difference. You see, crazy as that sounds, but he said even another 7 pounds. He said he had a slightly different remit, different mentality, different style because he didn't feel as strong as he did at welterweight.
Well, how is Atlantic City?
Wet,
dreary.
It's very much like London weather.
It's kind of like London. I feel very at home. It should be fun though, Gary. With Roberto Duran is coming. He's one of the luminaries that will be here. Part of the.
So you didn't make the weigh-in?
No, I have not. We've not seen it. No.
But there are a lot of great fighters coming in. Mark Breland's coming in.
Mark Breland, Jerry Cooney.
Jerry Cooney's going to be here.
So the fight in Atlantic City,
Lopez. Right? Yaki Lopez. That's who I'm looking forward to seeing.
Well, the fight in Atlantic City.
No, it's in Vegas.
No, we're just.
Why are you in Atlantic City, Ben?
The Hall of Fame. We're here for the Hall of Fame. We're nothing to do. We haven't come to the fight.
And I kept thinking it's in Vegas. Why are they in Atlantic City? I thought
imagine that.
Typical Ben. I thought typical Ben's gone to the wrong city.
Yeah, that's typical me. No, we're here for something.
You went to Atlantic City to watch it on pay-per-view just to get out, just to tell the missus that you go into Atlanta to watch a fight, right? You just wanted to see Michael and go to the casino.
I've been accused of being a pretender before, in all smoke and mirrors, in terms of my prominence in this boxing forum. And, so what I thought is Atlantic City looks a bit like Vegas. Could do, right? Maybe.
Not even a little bit.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. I'm trying to pretend that I'm at the fight, but this was cheaper to come here. And I want people to think, I'll just say I'm in a casino. This is Vegas, believe me. But
that'd be hard.
What we can do.
It's a Hall of Fame. What?
Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. So the guys that have fought in Atlantic City, in its heyday, mostly the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
That's where everything's coagulating for this weekend. And
did you fight there, Michael?
Yeah, I did. I fought about 6 fights there. I was 5-1.
Here.
Here, yeah, here, there.
And so how will you two? What's the story? How are you going to watch the fight?
We're going to watch it with everybody else tomorrow night.
Yeah,
There's
a whole bunch of fighters. We're getting together, and we're just going to all watch it at this place.
Where?
So, anyway, like
they have a place. They actually have a designated place for us. I just don't know the name of
We're
it.
definitely going to watch it, and we're trying to get to Philadelphia for one night, or for even just for a couple of hours as well.
Yeah, we're going to run the Rocky Steps.
That's what we're going to do.
And we're going to get a sandwich where he got a sandwich.
Pat steaks.
Yeah, Pat steaks. We're going to get Pat steaks there.
Are you going to change your voice, Michael?
Sorry?
Are you going to change your voice after Philly on the next podcast?
Oh yeah. Which one should I do? Apollo?
Yeah, you're an actor. You could do this.
My life. You ain't so tough. Ben, don't say to Michael, "You're the best thing ever happened in my crazy life." Don't say
that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
See, we can use that for a short, as long as the thumbnail doesn't look unflattering, in which case Gary insists it gets removed. But we could use that bit. Gary Stretch does Rocky. See,
I didn't do it. I didn't quite do it properly yet, but I should do a better one.
Yeah, go ahead. Give us another one.
Close the show with that. Close the show with that.
I was wondering if you wouldn't mind marrying me too much.
Yeah.
No, we gotta use it. Remember, we're gonna.
You can't use that one.
We're gonna use it as a thumbnail.
You can't use that one.
Do it again. We're gonna use it as a thumbnail.
Hey Ben, you're the best thing ever happened in my crazy life. You ain't so tough. I'll give you a way to live.
That was good. That was good.
That was really good.
Listen, guys,
can't use these, please. I'll never work again.
We're in danger. We are in danger of running out of battery here because of the circumstances. Give us some credit for doing the show at all, even though we were throwing so many curveballs today. Yeah. We will be back on Sunday, Gary, to discuss who got it right and who got it wrong. I really hope I do get on the scoreboard, because I will be a bit pissed off if I go 0-3. Because I don't think I'll ever get back up the slope after that.
What did you say again?
I said Canelo on points.
Okay. And what did you say?
I said Charlo.
I said
world.
Charlo. Okay, so guys,
and I said I broke down.
No, back in halfway.
No, I broke down the fight.
He did. He said beginning, middle,
first 4 rounds to Charlo.
Okay, I understand all
second
that. Second
4 rounds.
You can't give yourself an out. There's no ifs.
No. I told you the I give you the geography. First 4 rounds, Charlo convincingly.
But if he doesn't do
next
that,
4 rounds,
he still has to win.
Sticky
by the way,
water.
I'm gonna get one
Last 4 rounds, Charlo.
One other thing I want to clarify: if Canelo wins by stoppage, I'm still right. I'm not 0-3 if he wins by right.
Yeah, okay.
I think Charlo could stop Canelo, believe it or not.
Really? Well, that's interesting because he's thought to be so durable, Canelo, and I think he's kind of proved it to a great degree. But it's funny as well. Sometimes fighters lose their punch resistance or degrees of their punch resistance at a certain time in their career. Some people thought that happened to Joe Joyce.
And it's hard to get out of bed when you're wearing silk pajamas.
Yeah. That was...
Now, if you do mine, you got to do his together.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Cut them together.
Do what?
One. I did it already.
Ben, cut them together. Do his little snap, and then mine next to him. Now you do one, Ben, and then at least it's fur.
You know, see, he won't know who this is, but you know Jim McDonald.
Yeah, I know very well.
Got the very high pitched, cockney sort of gravelly cut. But Ben, how's it going, Ben? No, James. With James.
He's higher than that.
That's not bad. Not bad.
He has to go higher than that, though. And he has to do it as a piece that we can use as a JPEG.
Well, you mean higher? You don't mean higher pitched. You mean
Ben, you've got to give your Rocky. Just give us a one line, and then we'll have Michael, Gary, and Ben Rocky.
What did he say?
Just say, I wonder if you wouldn't mind marrying me.
I'll go
or you're the best thing that ever happened in my crazy life. Something like that,
When he said to Paulie, he said, I don't know you nothing. He said, friends. He goes, no, friends don't know. Friends do because they want to do.
No, there you go. That's the 3 bits. Now you either put them all together or you don't do them at all.
All right, no problem. Okay, that's a done deal. Listen, guys, while we've still got battery left, because we'd like to have a little chat with you afterwards that the ladies and gentlemen don't see. We've finally got 6 fucking viewers now, because most of our followers in the UK and most of them are asleep. But just now we've actually got 6 viewers, and we had like about 1 earlier. So it's a bit of a shame to cut it here, but we have to. So
yeah, but he didn't do the imitation yet. That was
I
imitation.
did do it.
That was the imitation.
Okay, so
Well, I'd like to say hello to our 6 viewers and congratulate you as you miss Ben doing the worst Rocky impression in the history of the world. So if you joined late, you're very lucky.
He did English Rocky. What was
He did. He sounded like fucking.
it was called Rocky Kelly. He was a motorway. But I did.
I asked you to do an impression of Rocky, not Roxy.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What was that? What was that thing you guys put the stone in? The sword? What did they call
Excalibur.
that? Excalibur. But what was the stone? You put it in a certain stone.
I didn't have to. It was just a regular stone.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going somewhere with that. You got to use the Gibraltar rock.
The Rock of Gibraltar.
The Gibraltar Rocky or whatever.
Yeah. That was. Listen.
That was bad. That was a reach.
While we still have some kind of degree of credibility, I think maybe we should find a way of closing this in a slick, professional fashion. Thank you for watching. We're going to get as much content for Sugar, Silk and Stretch as we can, and little interviews and snippets with the great and good this weekend. We will be back on Sunday to see who.
1 second before you close, I'm going to let you finish. Just to put a twister on it, on Sunday, we will find out if Ben Doherty is an absolute loser in regard to his choice and knowledge on boxing. Yeah. We will see if Michael has slightly become a winner, because right now is a flat even.
Or whether it'll be like the Fijis, you win again.
He's a Burley level right now. And Gary, of course, we'll see if he continues with his reign of supremacy.
Yeah, but you know what? That one that he won before, the one he won before was kind of like, I don't know. That was iffy to me. That was
the Eubank one.
Yeah, the Eubank one.
He called that like a Nostradamus.
No, he did. Call
I even picked the round.
So listen, guys. See, Gary saw what happened then as well, because he's worked before the cameras and he's made a living in that way for the last several decades. He saw that we were closed then, and then he left because he could see you started it again. Every time I try to close it slick and tight, you say, "You know what? Does anybody like Twinkies or something like that?" And he was laughing because he understood that you'd done that again. It's all good.
But we're gonna be even by this weekend. Just watch.
All right. Well, Michael, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Ben Doherty, who is going to close the show as he always begins it, closes it. It's become his thing. Michael.
Okay. I just see Matthew Mulligan only just got parked up, lads. Have we all got for Saturday night? Fucking you can't. That's like a Michael Elijah question at the end of a show. Listen, guys. Listen, you're gonna have to watch this one back, Matthew. We're gonna put it's gone to YouTube. It's in.
He picked Canelo.
Yeah.
I picked
Charlo.
And Charlo. Two Charlos, one Canelo.
Guys, this has been Sugar, Silk and Stretch. Please tune in on Sunday to see whether we got it right, and we appreciate your support. Peace out.